Agoraphobia is most likely one of the most misunderstood mental illnesses by those who do not suffer from it or study from it. So, what exactly is agoraphobia, and how do you deal with it? Well, let's talk about that. I'm Papega, and this is Mental Metal. As described by the Mayo Clinic, agoraphobia is a type of anxiety disorder. It involves, the fear of avoiding places and situations that might cause panic and feelings of being trapped, helpless, or embarrassed. So, despite what most people think, agoraphobia is not just simply the fear to leave your house. In fact, it is much more than that. And like many other mental illnesses, it can vary as to what symptoms you experience and to what degree. So, what are some examples of agoraphobia? Well, let me let me take you down this story, right? So first, imagine you need to go to the grocery store and grab some milk. Nothing serious. You've done it tons of times. You get dressed, throw on your shoes, and get in your car. On the way to the store, you start to feel a little bit uneasy. Nothing serious, but it feels as though you can almost sense something bad will happen. You shake it off because you need to get the milk for your coffee in the morning. You finally arrive at the grocery store. You park and you make your way in. Once in the store, you are heading towards the milk aisle, which is usually in the very back. Go figure. As you're walking down an aisle, you start to feel really warm. You start to feel a headache slowly starting in the front of your head. You start to feel flush. You start shaking, and oh boy, you really feel like something bad is going to happen. But why? Logically, everything in the store seems fine. This is something you repeat to yourself over and over again. It provides little but noticeable relief. You finally get to the milk, and as you reach for it, you notice you're shaking even more. You have to get to the milk and just get out. But still, you need to pay. You need to walk back through the store. You still need to wait in line and confront the cashier while you are obviously sweating profusely. What will they think? Will they think I'm sick? Maybe that's it. Maybe I am sick. But no. Just before the store, you seemed perfectly fine. Congratulations, you just experienced an anxiety attack, most likely brought on by agoraphobia. It's important to note that you can feel perfectly healthy one day and the next day, all of a sudden, you're struggling with symptoms of agoraphobia. That is just one reason why mental health as a whole is so incredibly difficult to study. It's 100% anecdotal. At the beginning, little to no physical symptoms can be present, and I can attest to this. It can take weeks or even months of silently struggling with these issues before physical symptoms can become obvious to a medical professional. This is why having an open dialogue with a therapist or a psychiatrist is so incredibly important. But how is agoraphobia typically diagnosed? If mental health is so anecdotal, how do we find out what's wrong? Well, the good news is, according to the National Health Service of the United Kingdom, agoraphobia can sometimes be diagnosed at your primary care physician's office. By doing a physical examination and speaking about triggers to specific feelings, such as how you feel when you go into public. And your primary care physician will often refer you to a psychiatrist and have this confirmed. Well, that's great. Now that you have been potentially diagnosed with agoraphobia, how the hell do we treat it? Once again, back to the Mayo Clinic. Treatment for agoraphobia will usually consist of two things: psychotherapy, or also sometimes called talk therapy. Talk therapy is when you and your therapist will sit down and talk about what situations give you these anxious feelings. You will also discuss goals you may have to overcome your agoraphobia. These will teach you better ways to deal with your anxiety symptoms brought on by your agoraphobia. It's important to note, though, that many professionals agree that you cannot beat or be cured of agoraphobia. You only learn better ways to cope with it and the symptoms, ways to better manage it through your daily life. through your own determinations and actions, and also, in most cases, through medicine. Now, medicine. Now, many people are terrified of the prospect of taking medicine, especially when it comes to mental illness. They think it's going to change them. It's important to keep an open dialogue with your therapist and your psychiatrist. Let them know how the medicine is affecting you, how it's making you feel. And then from there, they can change it if necessary. But medicine is the second most common way to treat agoraphobia among many, many other mental illnesses. But unlike Tylenol, you can't take two and your headache dissolves. This will be a treatment plan. This includes certain antidepressants called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, such as fluoxetine, which is Prozac, sertraline, or Zoloft. Those are used for treatment of panic disorders with agoraphobia. Other types of antidepressants also may be effective at treating agoraphobia. Antidepressants also are used for other mental health conditions, such as depression. But also, anti-anxiety medicines called benzodiazepines are sedatives that, in limited situations, your healthcare provider may prescribe to relieve anxiety symptoms. Now, benzodiazepines are generally used only on a short-term basis for relieving anxiety that happens suddenly, also called acute anxiety, because they can be habit-forming. These medicines are not a good choice if you have had long-term problems with anxiety or problems with alcohol or drug issues, or misuse. Now, anti-anxiety medicines can be expensive. They can also be very addictive. So these are often prescribed to use only as emergency drugs. Let's go back to the grocery store. As you arrive in the parking lot, you now know of your issues. You can feel the anxiety ramping, and you decide to take one of your anti-anxiety meds, one of your benzodiazepines. And within minutes, you are feeling calmer, but this is what makes them dangerous. I'd like to reiterate, I am not a medical professional. I am not licensed in any way. I am simply doing the research and turning it into a digestible video for education purposes only. Now that we know what agoraphobia is, examples of it, how to treat it, I sure hope you have a better understanding of this debilitating disease. Be mindful of friends and family who may be struggling with this. Mental health is scary and often illogical. If you suspect a loved one is struggling with this, have a conversation with them. Share them this video. Who knows? Maybe it can help give them a better quality of life. Remember, agoraphobia can affect anyone at any time, even famous folks such as Woody Allen, Sally Field, Howard Hughes. Thank you for watching. Your brain is amazing, and please do not be afraid to reach out to a local professional for any help you may need. If you've made it this far into the video, let me just say thank you. I know that this is a massive departure from the style of content that I usually create, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. Mostly because I've kind of slowed down on gaming as a whole recently, but I still want to create content. I'm addicted, you could say, to creating content. So I'd like to thank you for making it this far, and share the video. Let's get more people on the board of what agoraphobia is. My plan is to do an entire series on each misunderstood mental illness, and there's a lot, so there's a lot you're not going to want to miss. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you come back, and if there's any in specific that you want to learn about or talk about or hear about, please let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to be sure to add it on the list. Who knows, maybe the very next video is the one you want to hear about. If you leave a comment below, I'll make sure I pin it. That way you know it's going to be the next video that I discuss. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. Be well. I love you guys. Mwah.